Howdy, guys, and welcome to Cliff Notes, and welcome to a recap of the overnight feeds for night number 51. Yeah, we're getting into it. It's fantastic episode last night. A lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. First of all, let's talk about the live episode itself. One of my favorite episodes I've seen of Big Brother in quite a while. Just an amazing episode. Cameron went home on a unanimous vote. Yeah, no surprise there, nothing special, but it was a double eviction, so things certainly got exciting after that. That HOH competition, what a perfect fit. I'm sure y'all watched it, right? But for those of you who maybe haven't yet, one of the competitions where two people go head to head, one person's eliminated, the next person in line then picks another person to compete against. It was great because we got to watch one at a time a house guest being eliminated. And it really looked like there for a while, Siri might win this thing. Yeah, she never wins anything. She needed to win last night in order to protect herself and Jared. It looked like she was going to do it. She kept beating people over and over again, but eventually her luck ran out. But then at the very end, there was still the issue of Blue, and would Blue be willing to put Jared up? No. And sure enough, she's up against Corey in the very final round of this competition, and Corey won it. So, yes, the plan can go forward now that Suri and Blue are out of the competition. A fun one to watch. If you're Suri and you're so outnumbered by everyone else in the house, basically working against you, it's a really tough HOH to get past to get win. It was unfortunate for her and for Blue, I suppose, that they had that particular event that particular day. But as viewers, it was glorious. It was fantastic watching. So Corey wins HOH. There's talk about who he's going to put up. Is he going to put up obviously Jared, but is it going to be Jared and Blue or Jared and Suri? At one point, he tells Blue, says, yeah, if you promise you aren't going to come after us. I don't remember what the promises were, but at one point it sounded like maybe he was not going to put Blue up. Turns out when they come back to the commercial, that's exactly what he does. He puts up Jared and Blue for the on the block, and then we get to the next part. Now, I talked about how much I love competition. Isn't it funny that Blue, who had talked about throwing the HOH comp, was in that final round and maybe making the difference between whether Jared went home or not? You never throw these competitions. So Jared and Blue are now on the block thanks to Corey. I'm not sure from Corey's standpoint that I agree with that choice. If Suri had won Veto last night after that happened, she could have pulled Jared off the block, and now both of them are safe going forward. And now, as a result, also Blue is that much more upset with Corey that she thought maybe she wasn't going up. Now she is. I think there's a lot of pitfalls in what happened. Whereas if he had put Jared and Suri up on the block together, either one wins Veto. They pull himself off, but then the other one goes home. So you get one of those two big targets out of the house. So I think Corey may have made a little mistake in doing that. Now, here's the advantage, and maybe they were thinking about this. By not putting Suri up to begin with, they can have a little bit more argument that this never had anything to do with Suri. It was strictly Jared. Nothing. They aren't touching that relationship between the two. Certainly someone like Matt would prefer that. So maybe that's part of it as well. But again, I would have just put Suri and Jared up. So we have all of that. Then we get to the Veto competition itself. As it turns out, it doesn't matter who's up alongside Jared because Matt dominates this thing, running back and forth, finding 3 items hidden in kind of an adult ball pit, little tiny plastic pellets or something. He finds the 3 items first, really beats everyone else by quite a bit. Matt wins the Veto competition, chooses to keep nominations the same. As a result, it's Jared versus Blue. Jared goes out the door on an almost unanimous vote. Suri voted to save Jared. Everyone else voted to send him out the door. Now, we as viewers understand Mama isn't going to vote out her son, right? No one expects that. Remember, though, inside the house, most of these people, except for Blue, don't know that it's mother's son. So they may be looking at that vote cast to save Jared and realizing that Suri and Jared are maybe as tight as they ever envisioned in the house. So we'll see if that comes back to haunt them as well. But at the end, Jared is voted out. We then have a little reunion outside the house. Julie's talking to the two evicted house guests, letting them know that they're going back into the house, but they're going back in as zombies. So yeah, that's going to be could be an exciting week. So it's going to be interesting. Somehow they're going to compete against each other to see who gets to stay in the house beyond this week, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So with all that being said, I love the episode, so great, but we got some feeds to talk about. The feeds didn't come back on until about 10:30 or so Big Brother time, past midnight Houston time. It made for a long evening. So the feeds didn't come on until fairly late, but there were a lot of conversations that took place during that the time when they came back. So we're going to try to talk about as many of them as we can. We came back from the feeds. One of the first things we see is Jared dressed as a zombie, wearing some dark clothes. They look a little bit like a mummy as well, but dressed as a zombie, talking to Siri and Matt. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't be allowed to talk for the next week, that they could only walk around and moan or something like that. But now they're talking. Other than the costumes, it doesn't seem like they have any punishments as part of being a zombie for this week. I would have given them some kind of horrific have not. I guess you couldn't do body parts, right? But yeah, they could have had more fun with it. And maybe they will later this week. I don't think the twists are over just yet. But we do have them dressed up as zombies. Jared is telling Matt that they're still dogs. Yeah, I'm not holding this against you, Matt. We're still good with each other before Jared walks out the door. So now we've got Matt talking to Siri. Matt's telling Siri, saying, look, if I had used the veto, then you would have gone up on the block and the house would have all been mad at me for using the veto. He said, or the other option was not to use it, save you, but now Jared's mad at me. I had to do what I had to do. And I think Siri said something like, you got to play your game. I don't think she's upset that she didn't get put on the block, or at least she understands what he was looking at. She knows that Jared was a key target. So he's trying to explain why he did not use the veto. We've got Blue and Jared talking. Lord, did we have Blue and Jared talking? A lot of Blue and Jared talking last night. Jared not real happy with Blue. Yeah, we'll just say Jared very upset with Blue. That Blue did not tell him that Jag was coming for him, that this plan was in place to come after him. He's just feeling like Blue withheld information from him, and he's very upset. Imagine that, a showman's person holding information from the other one. Jared would never do that, right? But yeah, he's upset that she didn't tell him about Jag coming for him. He's also upset that Blue didn't tell him about this new version of the 7 deadly sins that had been proposed or formed that basically had knocked out Suri and Jared and replaced the two of them with Corey and America and Nicole. And there's a lot of talk about that particular 7 deadly sins change. And he's saying, how come you didn't tell me that? I would have put up Matt or someone. Yeah, I would have put up Matt instead. And she's saying, well, I didn't hear about that until Tuesday. So in other words, after the veto ceremony. And so she said, I didn't hear about it till afterwards. And she said, plus, I didn't say anything to you about it because it wasn't a real alliance. It wasn't going anywhere. It's just like you not telling me about the for real alliance because it wasn't a real alliance. Well, I'm doing the same thing with this one, Jared. So I'll give that a big old zing. Yeah, she called him out on that. Said, yeah, you didn't tell me, so why should I tell you either? Blue is also talking about the fact that she feels kind of icky that and that's the word she used, that Jared and Suri were kind of in a tough spot, realizing that maybe the house was turning against them. And only at that point, then Jared kind of proposed it. Yeah, maybe we'll put you in as a final 3 as well, Blue. So she's feeling like, yeah, he's been a little holding on some information a little bit too tight. And it was a little bit icky that he waited only until they were in trouble when he wanted to bring her in with Suri. So they're talking a lot about those things. Jared's also blaming her for telling Matt that she had a final 3 with Jared and Suri. She's denying having told Matt or Jag that information. She told Blue. It sounds like later that we find out that maybe she did tell Matt as well, but she's denying it. Say, yeah, no, I didn't do that. I may have at one point said that you and me and Suri and Izzy were working close together or something, but I never said anything about a final 3. But Jared's saying, well, someone told Matt because he knows about it, and I didn't say anything about it. Suri didn't say anything about it. So, but Blue is denying it at this point in time. Jared is also accusing Blue of playing her. Jared, just keep burning that bridge. You won't ever need Blue's vote, right? He may need it this week. We don't know exactly how this thing's going to work. But yeah, Blue, Jared kind of burning the bridge with Blue, it seems like, by just continuing to accuse her and getting very upset with her with everything that's taken place. Not the last conversation we'll have of the evening. All right, we've got Blue arguing back that it wasn't just about the alliance that Jared didn't tell her about. There was a lot of other information as well. And there's all kinds of things that she told Jared, and almost immediately they would get back to her that he had told other people. So there's all kinds of things that she's not real happy with as well at this point in time. All right, let's change focus for a little bit. We've got Siri and Matt and Felicia talking. Siri's wondering why Matt flipped, and he's saying that he had heard that, not just about using the veto, but just in general of going after Jared. She's wondering why that happened. He's saying that he had heard things around the house. He didn't really go into detail, just that he'd been hearing things. Suri is saying, that old stuff, the stuff in the past, I thought we were past it, but apparently not. Yeah, no, not really. So that's what Matt is blaming for the flip, is based on things that he kept hearing throughout the house, and so Suri's talking about that. She's saying, look, I haven't been targeting anyone in this house until now. Well, she certainly had mentioned to people. I think she'd mentioned to Corey that she wanted to go after the floaters. So yeah, she's certainly had names out there of who she would like to target, but she's saying she really hadn't been targeting anyone. But now maybe that's going to have to change. Jag comes in at one point. Suri's saying that she can't walk around all week and pretend like this hasn't happened, that nothing has happened. Jag's talking about how he'd been loyal to the seven deadly sins. He tried to do everything possible. He also is telling Suri, said, look, people are feeling great about you. Hey, this is just Jared. Don't take too much to heart with this, Suri. Suri is telling Matt, she's saying, I'm not going to hold you responsible for or accountable for what Jag did. So yeah, she and Matt trying to keep things on at least civil terms. Jag, not so much. Suri's not real happy with Jag. Jag is saying he'd heard things around the house that he's saying, maybe I've just heard things. I'm going off of what that was. I'm trying to find the truth, Suri. And if that's not what happened, well, I heard things. So they're all talking about that. Matt again reminds Suri that, hey, this was a shot against Jared. It has nothing to do with you. And please don't consider it as an attack against Jared. It's just about Jared. All right, we've got Matt and America and Corey just a little bit later celebrating in the bathroom the way things went down this evening. They're feeling pretty good about it. But America is warning them, don't tell Jared anything because it'll all get around. Well, yeah, of course. No one's going to tell him a lot. But she is warning them about that. Matt is saying that, after today, the four of us, Matt and Jag, Corey, and America, we need to win. By having the HOH the way they did, that elimination competition, everyone was forced to draw their lines, more or less declare their loyalties. The fact that these four kept picking Suri to try to get her eliminated made it clear. The line's drawn in the sand. So now that that's happened, they're saying that we got to win going forward. We've got to keep this thing going. Matt is saying that they need to figure out Blue and what's going on with her. That she kind of had a funny look all day and everything. They just don't know where her head is at. Corey is saying, look, Blue's really upset with me now. I put her on the block. And so, yeah, she's not real happy with me whatsoever. Corey's mentioning as well the fact that Jared had mentioned to him the brown sugar babes to him weeks ago, and he kind of forgot about it. But, as things have happened, he's remembered that Jared mentioned this alliance as well. So because of that, they're wondering really where Nicole stands right now, because she's part of the brown sugar babes. I say wonder. They're saying they know where Nicole stands right now, and it's not necessarily with them. It's with Suri and Jared and Felicia. They're pointing out as well that Nicole had tried to get out both Bowie and Corey during that HOH comp. I thought it was a little strange. Nicole, her very first pick was against Bowie, which I thought, all right, well, that's her trying to play the middle. She doesn't want to go after anyone on either side, so she's picking another floater. But then she also went after Corey. So she kind of made some declarations of her own during the comp, and it was recognized. It was noticed. All right, we've got Corey talking about Suri, saying Suri is gone because she can't win anything. We'll get her out because she can't win any of these competitions. But he's worried about Jared potentially beating Cameron and Jared coming back and taking a shot against him and Matt is who he thinks maybe Jared would go after. America is saying, yeah, that could be, but Cameron, at least Cameron, she doesn't think would come after them. So they're feeling that Cameron probably is the better choice for who to be cheering for to come back into this house. Corey is saying that if asked, they should reveal everything possible about Siri and Jared. Don't hide anything back, hold back on anything. Reveal everything they know about the two of them to keep them as targets in the house. He's saying, don't really reveal anything about Felicia and Nicole. Yeah, we know, but we want to try to keep them on our side, try to keep them divided from each other as much as possible. So Siri and Jared, throw them under the bus. The other two, yeah, not so much right now. All right, we've got Jag warning Corey about saying anything to Cameron. America warned about Jared. Jag's warning about Cameron. He's saying Cameron will use whatever you tell him as ammo to maybe help keep him or get him back into this house. So don't assume anything you tell him is going to stay a secret. Corey is saying, yeah, I get that, and I'm not going to tell him anything important or anything at all. He says, but I would rather have Cameron back in the house over Jared. All right, we've got Nicole mentioning the fact that they hadn't done any goodbye messages for Cameron or America before Thursday's eviction, and that was kind of a dead giveaway that a battle back was happening. The fact that they didn't say goodbye to the others, so they knew they weren't actually leaving necessarily. These Big Brother house guests, they noticed everything, right? You got nothing to do except think in there. Nicole's smart. She figured out something was up just because they didn't do goodbye messages. All right, we get Corey getting his HOH basket in the storage room. Why couldn't they have done goodbye messages? Play the goodbye messages even for the evicted house guest, and then the house guest gets to come back into the house potentially. I know why they don't, because then people won't express their true feelings. Goodbye messages, they won't be nearly as fun to watch. But once in a blue moon, it could have been interesting. All right, moving on. Corey got his HOH basket. Now, unfortunately, he isn't technically HOH anymore since the eviction already took place. The HOH room is not available. So he got his basket, but it was just down in the storage room, and it wasn't who wants to see my HOH basket. Now it's just him and America, and they're looking through everything, and he's saying, yeah, maybe keep the alcohol that you want before we share it with everyone else. But they're looking at his basket, and eventually then he got 17 Lunchables. Yeah, I guess he must have. I hope he specified that somewhere. They didn't just surprise him with it, but he got a lot of Lunchables as part of his basket. Some shampoo, some sunglasses, a few things here and there. He also got a letter from his sister, who was quite a bit younger than he is, and he eventually read that in front of some of the others. But at first, it's just him in America. Eventually, they take the basket out. People see his pictures and some other things. He had a picture of his brother, Zach, and I think Cerise said she kind of recognized him. Jared said he recognized him from Survivor as well. So Corey got his HOH basket to at least enjoy a little bit of what it is to be an HOH for 30 minutes or whatever it was. All right, we've got Jared and Cameron are talking to each other. These two guys not really liking each other at all, and yet now they're in the same boat, and seems like they're calling each other brother a lot, and seeming like they realize that it's only one or the other coming back, so maybe they ought to work together a little bit. We'll see, but they're talking to each other, and I say that they're still a little upset with each other. Jared's asking Cameron if he knew about the situation. And I think the situation is just about him being targeted and all of that. He's telling Cameron that, man, if you told me, if I knew everything, if I knew about everything, I would have put Matt up versus you instead. We would have sent Matt out the door. So Jared's now, he blamed Blue earlier. Now he's kind of blaming Cameron for being caught off guard with everything that took place. Jared is saying that he always has had a funny feeling about Matt, but he let that sit because he wanted to do what the house wanted and all that. He's also telling Cameron that he and Sari had wanted to save Cameron, but Felicia and Nicole put their feet down, said, nah, we're not doing it. It's done. And Sari and Jared had to vote with the house because of that and vote to send out Cameron. Now, later, Jared also tells Cameron that Blue also said no. She was voting with the house, so she wasn't going to vote to save Cameron either. And with that, they didn't have any choice except to also vote with the house. So they're putting all the blame on everyone except themselves for why Cameron's out the door. There was a little talk about them maybe thinking it was better to save Cameron. So Jared's not completely lying when he says that. But they certainly weren't going out of their way to protect Cameron from the beginning, right? It was only last second kind of deal. But anyway, that's what he's telling Cameron. All right. Jared is saying that they came after him, came after Jared because he tried to save Izzy, and that's what got people upset with him. Cameron is saying, I'm the one that led the votes, led the campaign to vote out Izzy. That was all me, Jared. And you tried to stop it, but that was me that did it. So he mentions that. Sari joins them and says, I'm the living zombie in the house, which is a pretty good description. She's a kind of a dead man walking in some ways because she certainly is being targeted by everyone else. So she says, I'm just the living zombie here. All right. Cameron says he had tried to warn Jared about what was happening. And he said that in front of Julie Chen too, saying, I warned you. I told you, Jared. Jared's like, yeah. But he's saying, I tried to warn you, Jared. Now Corey and America have this thing wrapped up because I think the next couple of comps are going to be mental comps, which they're going to do great at. This is their game to lose right now. Corey and America are leading the way with it. We've got Nicole and Bowie and Corey and Matt and America all in the bathroom talking about a bunch of stuff. But Matt is pointing out that without the HOH this week, that means that there is one less bathroom in the house. Yeah, there are a lot of people sharing that downstairs bathroom this week. So that will be a little interesting. All right, we've got Matt and Jag and Corey all talking. Jag is saying that Cameron wants to work with them, and them being America and Corey and Matt and Jag. Corey is going to tell Cameron that he is safe going forward, but that Cameron probably really needs to go the following week if he does make it back in. But he's going to tell Cameron, let's work together. We can make this happen. All right, we got Blue talking to Jag and saying that Jared is very upset with her. She's saying, but I'm here for $750,000. I'm not here for a dating show. So it is what it is. Jag is mentioning to Blue that Jared's been lying to him about all kinds of stuff. Blue is upset that people have been ratting her out to Jared, such as this final 3 deal that she had mentioned that got back to Jared. So she's upset with that. Blue's also mad that Corey had said that Jared and Sari were going on the block, and then 30 seconds later, it turns out Blue and Jared were on the block. So yeah, she's upset with Jared, but she's also upset with Corey itself. She also mentions, she says, I'm not scared of Corey in America. I don't think I'm scared of them at all. So she maybe has some targets in mind if she was to ever win HOH as well. All right, we've got talk about this final 3 no, I would take that back. Not that final 3, another final 3. There's talk about a final 3 of Blue and Matt and Jag. She'd love to work with the 2 of them going forward. Jag is talking about Sari some more, about how she just lies about everything. Sari told him how much he was liked by the house and what a good position he was in. Blue reminds him, says, well, she said that, and yet you got voted out 10-0. So what do you think about that, Jag? So we have that going on. Matt confirms at one point that he had mentioned to Blue this final 3 deal. So apparently she did tell Matt about her final 3 with her, Jared, and Sari. And Matt says, yeah, I did tell Jared about that. Sorry. But yeah, so she told Blue and she told Matt, apparently. All right. Matt is also saying that he feels good with her and Jag, but he's also he has certain feels for America and Corey as well. So that's kind of his posse, so to speak. He feels good with all of them. Blue is questioning. She's saying, well, you and Jag, yeah, I'm okay with y'all, but why should I feel good about 2 people who just tried to get out my number 1, or I'm trying to get out my number 1? So yeah, Corey and America, not so much. All right, we've got Matt and Corey talking about how they think that they can trust Bowie the way she played HOH. They feel like she was on their side. So they're feeling a little more comfortable with Bowie Jane right now. All right, we've got Jared and Nicole talking. I told y'all there were a lot of conversations last night. Jared and Nicole talking. Jared is saying that Corey had mentioned the brown sugar babes. And that he's accusing Jared of telling him that Jared's the one who told Corey about this, and Jared's telling Nicole, saying, "I didn't say anything to Corey about that. He's saying I'm the one. It wasn't me." So I don't know where he got that information about the brown sugar babes, but he is aware of it. Well, it was Jared that told Corey a long time ago, but he did tell him. All right, we've got Nicole thinking that the house is going to certainly target Jared next. But then she thinks it's going to be Jared, then Sari, then Felicia, and then her. So basically, the brown sugar babes are on the target list. Jared is saying, yeah, they'll go after me. He said, but I think they'll probably go after you before they go after Sari or Felicia, that you could be the next target. So be ready for that. All right, we got Corey and Jag talking. Corey's wondering what's up with Nicole and her picks in the HOH comp. Again, this is really bothering that she didn't seem to be on board playing with the team. So Corey's wondering about that. Corey is saying Nicole is brilliant, but right now she's kind of playing dumb and making some of these decisions. They also, now here's a little revealing information. They're talking about the draw that took place for the veto competition. It was part of this double eviction. We didn't get to see it. It happened during a commercial, very quick draw, but they still pick another 3 people to compete. So in this part in time, it turns out that Corey Drew got house guest choice, picked Jag. At that point, then Jared also got house guest choice, and Jared picked Matt. Yeah, so talk about feeling betrayed. Jared picks Matt. Matt then wins veto, doesn't use a nomination. Jared gets evicted as a result. All right, they're talking about the competition, some competition. How are they going to figure out who goes back into the house? And so they start talking about some kind of competition that Jared and Cameron are going to have to compete in. It almost sounds like, I don't know if it's just one comp. They've had some pre-warning. Maybe they get to practice or something, or it's multiple competitions. Really not certain right now, but it sounds like it's a competition that involves walking back and forth on a seesaw. Picture a seesaw shovel, the scoop on one end. They start on one end. They have to fill up that scoop with balls or something, get it all filled up with it all spilling out. So very carefully walking back and forth on the seesaw. It sounds like some kind of beam type competition of that sort that they're talking about. Now, earlier, right as the feeds came back for the evening, Jared had been mentioning some kind of foam ball stacking competition as well. Is that part of this as well, or is it a different comp? We don't really know yet, but it sounds like something with stacking and seesaws of some form or another. Corey's thinking that Cameron probably could beat Jared in that type of competition. So we'll find out. There's also talk later, another conversation about having to solve a puzzle. And there was some conversation about Caitlin Herman and the puzzle she had to solve. So I don't know. It could be a few different comps to get to the very end, or just all part of one big one. But again, seesaw, stacking balls, maybe a puzzle. We'll find out as we go forward. But the key thing is, it does sound like they've gotten some kind of advance warning about what's going to be involved to stay in this house of some sort. They probably don't know the details, but maybe something to practice, if nothing else. All right, we've got Matt and Corey talking. Matt's not sure that Blue's going to work with them. Matt's saying, look, I think she maybe prefers to be in a final 3 with Jared and Siri over being the bottom of our group of 5, that she knows she'd be at the bottom. She's not into that. She may still just stay allegiant to them as well. So not really sure where Blue's at just yet. All right, we've got Blue and Jared again. They started off seeming to have kind of made up with each other, kind of a little flirting talk and all of that, until they're back in bed. And I think it was, if I recall, the upstairs game lounge area. But no, they get back in bed. I think this was actually downstairs. And Jared is rehashing the same gripes over and over again that they talked about before. Jared is at one point saying, why didn't you take your rear end back down to the scary room instead of just laying down with someone that you didn't trust? So he's kind of giving her a hard time. I really wish at that point in time, Blue had just gotten up out of bed and said, yeah, okay, well, never too late, and walk out. But she didn't. But Jared's still just upset that, and feeling a little betrayed that he didn't get all the information ahead of time. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, Jared. But he's not happy. All right, finally, we've got Matt and Jag talking. Jag is saying that there's no way that Jared is cool with him after what happened this evening. So don't be thinking, no matter what Jared says, they know Jared is not cool with the two of them. They're complaining about the floaters in the house. Starts off complaining about Nicole, saying she's not really doing anything to help them out. Eventually, it turns to them deciding that the floaters need to go. They want to get out Nicole and Felicia and Bowie Jane and Suri and America. And what do you get when you get all of them out? I think it's Matt that said, house full of dudes. So, yeah, we'll see if that boot order comes into play. Probably not. I have a feeling that Cameron could get thrown in there somewhere as well, but we'll see. But, yeah, they're a little tired of the floaters. I feel like they're doing all the heavy lifting, and these floaters are just making it to the end of the game. That's what floaters do. All right, and then finally with that, 4 o'clock in the morning, Big Brother time means 6 o'clock Houston time. It looked like everyone's pretty much wrapping up. Conversation's over? No, but pretty close. So I went ahead and shut it down. Hey, got to shut it down sometime. So there you have it, guys. A fantastic and amazing live episode. And now a little chaos, little mistrust, a lot of mistrust in the house afterwards. We'll get more details going forward about what's going to happen. It's going to be a weird week. No HOH, no vetoes, which means there's going to be a lot of talk about what happens after this week, after they decide who stays in the house, who doesn't. I hope the house guests have some kind of a say in which of these two gets to stay, only so that there's a lot of campaigning and things like that taking place. Otherwise, it could get a little boring this week. Fingers crossed that isn't the case. I'll have more details in the morning. Y'all have a fantastic Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Y'all have a great Friday. I'll be back tomorrow morning to give you the new scoop on what's happened overnight. But until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.